Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be doing my June wrap up. I read 14 books this month, which has been like my average amount of books I've been reading throughout the year. So I read 14 books and yeah, I'm just gonna go through them really quick. So the first book that I read in June that I finished in June was It's a Love Story by Annabelle Monaghan, about Jane Jackson, who was a child actress, and the show that she was on, she was like the joke of the show, like no one took her seriously, and that still follows her into adulthood. And now she's like gonna create I don't know what her title is, but she like picks scripts and like tries to get them picked up, whatever that's called. And they're usually all romances, and she's still trying to navigate like her childhood, like separate her childhood experiences in Hollywood from her adult experiences, if that makes sense. And there is the mailman character, Dan, is like her enemy at work. She cannot stand him because he tends to shut down. He's like the filmmaker or like cinematographer. He tends to shut down a lot of the scripts that she brings to the table. Not because he doesn't love romance stories. His favorite movie is The Notebook. It's just the ones that she's bringing he doesn't think are like realistic. Like he just doesn't see like them being successful. So she hates him for that. But they had a really good meet cute before they found out they worked with each other. Like they met and like went out. They were gonna go on a date, and then he shows up to her work the next day, and she's like, and he turns down her script, and then like her hatred starts from there. Like even though they had a great time hanging out, and I was confused. I want to say for like the first 100 pages, and that's my fault because I guess I didn't read the back well enough. But I was confused as to who the love interest was supposed to be, because the whole point of this is that she's trying to sell her script to be made into a movie, and she says that she can get Jack Quinlan, Dan's last name is Finnegan, I think. Yeah. She promises that she can get Jack Quinlan, who she knew when she was younger, when she was a child actress, to write a song for this movie. And they're like, oh great, yeah, that'll definitely make it get greenlit. So problem is she hasn't talked to Jack since she was on that show when she was, I don't know, 14, 15. So she tells Dan this, and Jack and turns out that Jack is going to be performing at this music festival in Dan's hometown. So Jane and Dan go on a road trip to Dan's hometown to find Jack and ask him to write a song for this movie. So she's spending time with Dan and his family, realizing that Dan is not as bad as she makes him out to be. And I don't know why I thought that she was gonna like reconnect with Jack and that was gonna be the romance. I was like, why is Dan here? I was so confused, and I think that's just me not reading the back, because if you read the back, you wouldn't think that. You know, you would know clearly who the love interest has to be. So I was confused about that, but I liked the little town that Dan is in, like the little activities that they're doing. It's a small town, and also like her seeing all this different side of Dan that she doesn't see at work, and like you can kind of see like why he is the way he is, or like where his personality comes from. And I did like that aspect of it. I'm just gonna say this isn't my favorite Annabelle Monaghan book. I just wasn't connecting to the characters or the story as much. When I finished it, I felt like I was left like a little disappointed, just because it didn't like hit me, you know, like in my chest. You know the feeling. But I did end up like, it was overall a good read. It's fast paced. I love all of her books for that reason. And the more I think about it, I did love the story. I think it was cute. It wasn't as like impactful on me personally compared to her other novels. Like Summer Romance and Nora Goes Off Script just like hit deeper for some reason. And this one just didn't get that far for me, but I still enjoyed the story and where it went. I honestly don't remember as much about it. There are a couple quotes that I wish I had underlined and like tabs so I could go back to them because I did enjoy them. But still great story, great writing. I love her writing. But I think I'm gonna give it a 4-star. Then I finally finished Heat of the Everflame. This is the 3rd book in the Kindred's Curse saga by Penn Cole. This book is chunky. I actually read it on my Kindle, but this just took way too long to read. It's 1,000 pages. And sometimes in a 1,000-page book, like Kingdom of Ash, I could sit there and read that all day. But there was just something about this one being the 3rd book, and there's still another one coming out after this. It was just, I don't think it needed to be 1,000 pages. I honestly think this could have been cut in half. Like, this could have been 500 pages. We could have gotten all this done, especially the way it ended and wrapped up. I felt like the entire story just went in a circle. Like, we didn't make any progress from the conflict at the beginning of this one. The conflict happens at the end of the 2nd one. You left on a cliffhanger. Starts in this one, and then it takes forever, I feel like, to get out of that conflict, but then I feel like we just go in a circle and we're right back to where we started. Like, I feel like no progress was made politically, or I do like the scenes with Luther and Diem because, I mean, I love them together and their romance, and some of it didn't really feel high stakes, and I feel like it's because I feel like the conflict, there was no new conflict. It just circled back to the same thing. Like, this ended the same way the 2nd one ended. And I'm not sure why that is, but yeah, I still give it 4 stars because I still love the series and I love the romance between Luther and Diem, and also I love the quotes on the back. This one says, "Desire." He gave a dark, throaty laugh. "Desire is a pathetic word for what I feel for you. I require you. I am sustained by you. You are the flame that fuels my fire. Don't you dare question that, not for a second." I love Luther, okay? And I feel like that's why I gave it a 4-star, because I do eat up the bits of romance that you get in this. I just feel like the fantasy plot and like political plot of this story isn't really going anywhere. I think we're just like going in circles. But yeah, I can't wait for the 4th one to come out. Then I listened to / read on my Kindle May Luna by, what's her name? Kelly McNeil. And I read this because I saw Sarah Caroli read it and saying that like if you read Wattpad, you know, in the One Direction days, then you would love this. So I was like, oh, that's me. So I read this. Unfortunately, I still think about this book. I'm kind of mad that I read it, not gonna lie. Sometimes I wish I hadn't. If I had known it was going to end the way it did, I would not have read it. The ending totally took me by surprise. Okay, follows like a band in the 90s, okay? And they're like getting popular, famous really fast. They're a band from England, and the main character, the female main character, kind of becomes like their journalist and like follows them on tour, and she falls in love with the lead singer, Carter. And okay, I listened to the audiobook of this too, and it was so good because Carter's British, right? So just hearing him talk, I don't know, it was just so good. And she basically becomes like a member of the band. Like the members become her brothers. Like she finds a family that she didn't have growing up in the band members. And then also obviously falls in love with Carter, and they go through all this stuff, and she's kind of like his muse, so he writes a lot of their songs about them, and there's a photo of them in like magazines and everywhere. No one knew who she was. Like people have seen this mystery woman in a lot of the band's like promotional pictures, like I don't know, like when they were recording in the studio. But no one's ever been able to figure out who she was. And so you're listening to like the present timeline. The woman is telling her kids about her story with Carter and this band. And then you're also listening to Carter recount what happened between them. And I was thinking, like, okay, so they don't end up together in the end. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. I hope that's not the case. I don't really want to talk about this book anymore. It was so hard to read. I think there's a big miscommunication in here that literally could have solved everything, and it wouldn't have had to end the way it did. If you've read this book, you know what I'm talking about. And I just feel, I give it a 4-star because I was so invested in this story, and the ending took me by surprise. Like, I wanted a good ending, and I'm not sure if that's what we got. Not really. I don't want to say too much, but just, if you would decide to read this book, don't go into it thinking you're getting like a cute, like, Wattpad-y fanfiction type book that you would have read about One Direction back in 2014. Just don't expect that, okay? It's definitely very emotional, and it's not, yeah, it's just very emotional, okay? So just don't go into it with the mindset like I did, that it's gonna be, oh, One Direction fanfiction. No. No. Okay, just be prepared to cry. That's all I'm gonna say. I did give it 4 stars though. Then, okay, I don't want to talk about that book anymore. Let's move on. Then I read A Million Junes by Emily Henry. Oh, I also wanted to talk about my June TBR of the 6 books that I picked. I read 4 out of the 6. The only 2 that I didn't read were Left of Forever and One of Us is Lying. I actually started Left of Forever. I've been like in the middle of it for like over a week. It's not that it's not good. I think it's just because I've been reading a lot of just fast-paced like palette cleanser books on my Kindle, because we'll get to this in a second, but I feel like I've been in like a slump all month, so I feel like I've just been reading books and enjoying them, but also not. And when a book starts to feel really good, I feel like I'm scared, and I'm like pushing it off to the side. I'm like, no, I don't want to finish it yet because it's gonna break me again. Anyway, I started this one listening to the audio first, and I loved the narrators for this book. I'm getting off topic, but anyway, I started this one, I just didn't finish it. So I did read 4 out of the 6, which I think is pretty good. When normally when I have a TBR, I don't stick to it at all. And this was one of them. I listened to this one, majority of it, and I'm still kind of confused as to what happened. It's kind of like a Romeo and Juliet situation where these 2 families have always like hated each other for some reason, like back in the day. There's also like magical realism in this, which is interesting to read with Emily Henry's writing style. But I did enjoy it. I gave this a 3.5. I think, like, it's not my favorite Emily Henry book, obviously. It's one of her older works, but I'm glad that I read it. I do want to read her other older ones. But this one just follows June and her family, and then Saul Angert's family, and the 2 families cannot be together, and they finally like meet and talk, and he kind of like doesn't believe in the feud between their families, but there's some type of magical element that's like between the 2 families, if that makes sense. I didn't really understand that aspect of it. I feel like I was kind of confused about the family situations, but I did enjoy it, and the ending was pretty crazy, so I already said I gave that one a 3.5. Now we're getting to the book that's the reason for my slump, and that no other book will ever compare, and that is Releasing 10 by Chloe Walsh. I took my sweet time reading this. Normally I devour these books in like a few days. This one I was like, I do not want to finish it because I knew how it was going to end, and I didn't want to get to that part because I didn't want to read and be sad. I didn't want to get to that part because I knew it wasn't going to end the way we wanted it to, but I did have to get there eventually, and now I just have to say that there's songs that I cannot listen to without like wanting to cry, because Silver Springs Mr. Brightside. I Love You, I'm Sorry. There's so many songs that I can't listen to without thinking of Lizzie and Hugh. I love them so much. I'm so glad that we got Lizzie's book, and just seeing, like, she wasn't ever, like, my least favorite character. Like, I didn't hate her. I just knew that there was something that we didn't understand about her, right? And you don't know that until you get her perspective. And seeing, like, after reading this and, like, thinking about her behavior in the other books, and then Hugh being with Katie and the other ones, I'm like, it's so painful, but I love them. I think Hugh might be my favorite. Every time I read a news story, honestly, I know everyone's favorite is Gibbsy, and I love that he's funny and, you know, he's the comedian of the series. This is my unpopular opinion, but Gibbsy and Claire aren't my favorite couple. Gibbsy's not my favorite character. I hope no one hates me for that, but I always loved Johnny. Then I read Saving Six and Redeeming Six, and I was like, Joey's kind of close. And now Hugh, I kind of think Hugh was number one right now. He's just so, he's Hugh, you know? And I'll never get over it. I think about this book 24/7. I will never stop. I need the next one immediately. Chloe Walsh, please do not make us wait so long, because you know how this ends. If you've read this, you know how it ends, and it's pain. I need a happy ending, okay? This is a 5-star. Then I read You with a View by Jessica Joyce. I listened to some of this on audio. I kind of went back and forth. This one was okay. I wasn't really invested in the relationship or the characters or anything. My main pet peeve about this, which I knew going into it, like, it's nothing to do with, like, the author, or it's not the book's fault. It's just I don't like when social media or current events are mentioned in books. Like, I don't really want to hear about TikTok or, like, read about the main character, like, posting on TikTok and doing all these things, like, trends, because I live that in my, like, day-to-day life. Like, I see that all the time. I don't want to go back. I read to escape, and I don't really want to read about things that are in my everyday life. Does that make sense? Like, I don't want to hear about Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff, which, I mean, I know that it's realistic, but I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense. I just don't want to read about it. And she was on TikTok. It's like the main part of the plot is TikTok and going viral and all that stuff. I just feel like I would have enjoyed it more if there wasn't the TikTok element, which I know is part of the whole plot. So it's really just a me thing. And even the romance, I was just like, wasn't invested in. So I gave this one a 3 stars. Then I actually read an arc on my Kindle. I read Yours for the Season by Emily Stone. I love Emily Stone's holiday novels, her Christmas novels. I've read 2 of hers. And they're always, like, really emotional, and she adds, like, such a deeper level to it. And this one, I didn't find that deeper level, emotional level, until, like, later in the book. I feel like it was more subtle. It wasn't like a, you know, I don't want to spoil the other ones, but it's not like I don't want to spoil the other ones, but the other ones I feel like just had more of, like, an emotional pull, whereas this one was a bit more quiet in that aspect, and more about, like, family and how your family's behavior and actions reflect their children's, like, affect their children's behaviors and actions, and how they go out into the world and perceive relationships and all that stuff. It was kind of a slow one until about, like, halfway. That's when I started to get really invested in the 2 main characters, Mel and Finn's relationship. They broke up. He broke up with her publicly in front of his family, and she's still heartbroken over that. And then 6 months later, he approaches her and is like, I need you to fake date for my family's Christmas holiday because I told my parents we were back together, and they're, like, so happy. Or he told his mom that they were back together. So she decides to do it to get revenge on him so she can publicly break up with him this time after Christmas. So they have to spend a week together again. Forced proximity, second chance. It was very cozy, and I loved the holiday themed activities that they were doing, like all as a family. That was really fun. And yeah, it's pretty good. So thank you to NetGalley for the arc. I gave that one a 4-star. Then I read the 4th book in the Vancouver Storm series, Gloves Off, by Stephanie Archer. This is a marriage of convenience, and I loved it. I do eat that up. I love fake marriage. It's just something about it. But this one's about the doctor for this team, like the team doctor, Georgia, and then Alexi, who is one of like the defensemen, and he's kind of like one of the older guys on the team, and she's like always messing with him about his age. So I don't really know their age difference. And he's not old, he's just old to still be playing hockey. Like he's like 36 or something. Anyway, she needs to be married to inherit to be able to access her inheritance from her grandparents, and he needs to obtain his citizenship. So they agree to get married, even though they hate each other. But you know that they don't hate each other. They just hate that they're attracted to each other. And there was kind of like a miscommunication back in the day when they first started working together on the team that led to this fake hatred. So anyway, they're spending a lot of time together. They're both seeing each other in like a different light and like learning things about each other. Like he thinks that she's spoiled and materialistic when she's not. She just lets him think that, like doesn't correct him or anything. So he learns about all the stuff that she does at like all the programs that she's created at the hospital that she works at part-time, and like that she was an athlete. Like he just learns like, oh, why do you let me think all these things about you? And she's like, it's easier than like correcting you. And also like they're both attracted to each other, but I feel like they didn't want to let each other in and act on that because of this miscommunication that happened back in the day. And then she starts to see like a different side of him, and like he's not the grumpy hockey guy that everyone thinks he is. Anyway, I do love this. Her books are a bit spicy, but it doesn't take away from the story. I think I gave this one 4.25. Then I read Ashley Poston's new release, and that is Sounds Like Love, and I was super excited for this one. The way I feel about this one is the same way I feel about It's a Love Story by Annabelle Monaghan. Like, I was expecting more from it, and I feel like they were just okay. Does that make sense? Like, I don't normally with Ashley Poston's book and Annabelle Monaghan's even, once I finish them, I will think about them forever. Like, I still think about It's a 7-Year Slip. Also, you get a 7-Year Slip reference in here. We meet Ewan. The characters make a appearance in this one, which is fun. But I just wasn't like totally sold on like the plot and like the two main characters writing a song together. That's how they were connected, and that was like the magical realism where they could like hear each other's. But I feel like because they were in each other's thoughts a lot, it was hard for me to see like the actual like tension and connection between them, which you would think because they were inside each other's head that you would know the connection, but you don't get that. Like, they're just, you get the connection like writing a song, and I don't know, they spend a week together writing a song or something. I don't even know how long he's there. There's not really like a third act. Well, I don't want to say a third act. I feel like there's no problem. Like, they come up with a solution to write the song together to see if they can get out of each other's heads, and a solution comes very fast, and they write the song very fast, and then the ending comes very fast, and then that's it. I just feel like there was no like, there's no drama, which I'm not that I'm expecting drama. Like, I just feel like it was missing something. But I don't want to be a hater. I still liked it. I still love her writing. It just wasn't what I was expecting. So I gave that one a 4-star. Then I listened to Training the Heart by Paisley Hope, and this one's a second book in the Silver Pines series. These are standalone cowboy romance novels, and I did enjoy the first one. This one seemed a lot more spicy than the first book. I don't really remember how much spice was in the first one, but these books are spicy. Like, these are like Elsie Silver, but like Elsie Silver's down here with the spice. This is like up here. It's like crazy. I feel like every other chapter was spice, and I was like, why do we need all that? This book could have been like half the size if we took out all the spice. Seriously. But Wade is kind of grumpy. He owns the ranch, and he needs a new horse trainer to take over for his old one that's going on maternity leave. And she comes in, and he kind of just like, because he's attracted to her, he's kind of like downplaying her abilities and stuff. Well, he doesn't want to hire her because he's attracted to her. I'll just say that. And yeah, they spend a lot of time together. Honestly, didn't take away anything from this. And if I do continue the series, I'll probably just listen to them on audio. It's just the covers really get me. They're super cute. I gave that one just a 3. Then I read Taylor Jenkins Reid new release, and this is Atmosphere. And while I was reading it, I was like, oh, I love that. I didn't care for like the relationship part of this. I was more invested in the astronaut and NASA plot. Like, I was just like, although I do like Taylor Jenkins Reid's relationships and like how she writes them, and I love Joan and Vanessa. Is that her name? Yeah, and her like group that she was with, I did really enjoy that, and just her writing is always amazing. But honestly, I was more interested in NASA, in the missions that they were going on, and also like it being the 1980s and like women trying to like have the same rights as men in like these fields. Like, they wanted to be able to go into space and like have the opportunity to be able to fly a space shuttle and all that stuff, which I really liked. And let me tell you, the ending really had my heart pounding. I was really scared. I gave this one a 4-star, but I might bump it to like a 4.5 or something, because I still think about this and I really enjoyed it. Like this has me more interested in like space stuff, which I don't know. It's just really interesting. And yeah. I also really liked Joan's relationship with her niece. I really liked that part of the story. I feel like that was, besides the NASA aspect, I think my second favorite part was her relationship with her niece, and like her stepping up and helping her. Like, she loves her niece like her own, and I really enjoyed that. Then I listened to The Sirens by Amelia Hart. This one I read because I thought it was going to be like mermaid-ish. It's about sirens, you know? It was more of like a mystery type book, and follows, so there's like 3 different perspectives. You have current perspective, which is Lucy. She wakes up strangling her ex, and so then she flees. And then you have 1999, about the older sister of Lucy, and like her teenage life, and like what she was doing during that time. And then the 1800s, these 2 sisters, one of them's blind, they're on a convict ship going to Australia. Just following like those 3 perspectives and how they're all connected. I feel like some of it, like, I didn't really need the sisters on the convict ship. I get that they're related to the other 2 somehow, but I just wasn't really invested. I feel like I just didn't care about the novel. I really have nothing else to say about it. But they have this like thing where they can't go in the water because of the siren thing, and they're trying to learn more about their past, and I just feel like you spend like a lot of time just with the main character Lucy just wondering about her past, and like, oh, I wonder about this, and like trying to research and all this stuff, and then in the end it's just like all thrown at you at once. That's how I feel. Or like, I feel like it was just like all thrown at you at once at the end, where you could have like spread it out evenly through the novel, if that makes sense. I don't know. I didn't really enjoy this one that much, so I gave this one a 2.5. The last 2 books that I read in June were Face Off and Power Play by Chelsea Curto, and these are part of the DC Stars standalone series. The first book, Face Off, is about Emmy and Maverick, who end up playing on the same team. Emily's the first woman to play in the NHL. And I thought that was very interesting. I haven't read about a female hockey player yet. And I liked, I just wanted like another series, sports series like this, where there's like found family. I just love the relationship between like team members and like even like the group of girls, like significant others that become friends. I just really like that aspect of it. I also really liked that he wore her jersey in this one. That was really fun and unique. And yeah, I gave that one a 3.5. And then I read Power Play, which is the second book. This one's about Liam, who is the goalie on the Stars team, and then Piper, who is one of the media people. Like she's like one of the reporters for the team. Journalist. I don't remember her title. And Liam's like very grumpy and hates everyone, but he does seem to come out of his shell a bit more and like tolerate talking to her. He does enjoy talking to her. And you see glimpses of that in Face Off, so I knew that they were gonna get a book. But Piper is kind of freshly divorced and she wants to get back out in the dating scene, but her ex was the only guy that she's ever dated. They've been together since high school, I think. And she just feels like she's not experienced enough in dating and like other things. So she wants to find someone that she can practice with, basically, but it needs to be someone that she trusts because she's not like just gonna go out with like a bunch of guys. So she actually asked Liam to help her learn some things, and they do that. They have rules, obviously, like no falling in love, which no one ever listens to that. But if that, and then he's going to help her out. He's going to help her out with that, and then she's going to be his date to his sister's wedding, like his fake girlfriend. So I really liked their aspect together. I love how Liam is like grumpy, and everyone on the team knows that he's not the most sociable. He doesn't like hanging out with people. Not that he's like he's just an introvert, and he preferred to stay at home, and I don't blame him. But Piper really brings out his, I don't want to say fun side, but like he's more willing to go out and be more sociable because of her. So I really liked that aspect of it, and like him, like I don't know, I just love a grumpy man. I don't know what it is. And Piper was just really fun and such an extrovert, and seeing their dynamic together was really cute, and yeah, I love it. I gave that one a 4-star. And then these books are very spicy. I feel like they could do with less spice, but I don't really like write off books just because of the spice. Like I've never written not liked a book just because of the spice, but I do think that it's kind of excessive in these, but it's not gonna it doesn't really take away my enjoyment of the characters and the plot itself and the romance. So, I just deal with it, basically. But those are the books that I read in June. And I feel like it was an okay reading month. I feel like after I read Releasing 10, like everything was just like okay. Like I was just like, yeah, that's okay, I enjoyed it. And I still feel that way. Like it's July 4th that I'm filming this, and I still haven't finished a book. Like just nothing sounds good. That's why I'm reading these hockey romances, because they're good palate cleansers, and I don't know. So anyway, thank you guys for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. If you've read any of these books, let me know your thoughts on them in the comments, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!